Hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Bibliophile series. In this series, we go through articles of national importance, national and international importance. So the last episode was about a person spreading falsehoods about climate change. And this is related to climate change, but a different take on climate change. This is written by Amy Pritchard. She was charged with a crime because she broke windows at the JP Morgan offices, the biggest funder of fossil fuels. And then, when she was convicted, when she was finally found liable for the damage, she wrote an article which was published in The Guardian. And this is that article. This is a edited extract of her piece that she gave out when she was convicted. Let's read through the article. Let me wait until this gets displayed. Okay. Every day, I struggle to hold the insanity of our collective behavior within me, in my psyche, my heart, and my body. Insanity of our collective behavior within me. The harm we are causing to ourselves, to our fellow humans, and all other beings, or our incredible, beautiful home is horrific. Yet, I know that what I think and feel is a healthy response to what's going on. In this paragraph, she's simply laying down the groundwork. She's simply laying down the groundwork of she's very disturbed by the way things are turning out. But the fact that she's getting disturbed, it is a healthy response. This is how everyone should be responding to it. Okay. In April 2021, Franz Timmermans, the vice president of the EU Commission, said, "Today's children will face a future of fighting wars for water and food. We are already facing significant impacts on our harvest sphere. The prospect of wars over resources and conflict caused by and exacerbated by climatic conditions is an almost unbearable intergenerational injustice." First, she has alluded to the statement made by the Vice President of EU Commission, and then she's saying the prospect of wars over water and other resources, that is on account of the poor climatic conditions that as in the climate change that is happening, anthropogenic climate change that is happening. It is an almost unbearable intergenerational injustice. Why this is an intergenerational injustice is the current generation is doing all the damage, but the impact of that will not be felt by the current generation as much as it would be felt by the subsequent generations. And that is why it is an intergenerational injustice. The loss of biodiversity, meanwhile, will erode the foundations of our economies, livelihoods, food security, law and order, health, and quality of life worldwide. So why it is an intergenerational injustice? I'm so sorry for sneezing. Why it is an intergenerational injustice? That has been expanded upon because loss of biodiversity will erode the foundation of our economies. Financially, will be hit. The jobs that people have, the food that they get, the state of law and order, there will be anarchy. Whenever there is widespread poverty, there is a lot of anarchy. There is a lot of crime happening because people are in more desperate situations. They engage in more criminal activity. And health and quality of life worldwide. If the government's primary duty is to protect people, then the form of democracy we have is failing. Okay. She's also kind of pointing a gun towards the government, saying that they are not doing enough. We took this action. She was not the only one who had broken the glass at the JP Morgan offices. There were other activists with her. We took this action because the institutions and systems that we relied upon were not working and do not seem to really understand the danger, although they do know about it. It's baffling and utterly terrifying. See, if I could meet her and talk to her, one only piece of advice I would tell her is, it's not really baffling, given that they have been very, very clear in terms of their action, not their words, in terms of their action. They are profit oriented. They don't give a damn about any other objective apart from profit. When it comes to inclusivity campaigns, DEI, because it gets them more revenue, that is why they do it. When it comes to acceptance of members from the LGBTQ community, if it helps their business, they will do it. If it doesn't help their business, they will not do it. They are only chasing after profit. The fact that we are attributing other qualities to them, the fact that we are expecting organizations or corporations to behave in any manner other than profit seeking is the reason why you will find it baffling. It is not baffling. They are only looking to maximize profits, which is not right. I'm not saying their single-minded focus on maximizing profit is right. I'm saying it is not baffling why they would do something of this nature. Okay. JP Morgan, more than any other bank, is fueling this crime against humanity. It is pouring petrol onto the fire. Pun intended. It is pouring petrol onto the fire in the form of hundreds of billions of dollars of fossil fuel investments. Its profits are immense. The bank claims we all need a reality check on likely progress to a global energy transition, warning that it is a highly complex process to be measured in decades or generations, not years. Which is what would perhaps lead her to say, although they do know about it. The bank claims we all need a reality check on likely progress to a global energy transition. We all need to shift to better or energy efficient modes of energy consumption. And the process is highly complex and it has to be a long-term change. It will not happen instantly, but it has to be a long-term change and we all have to be moving in that direction. The statements made by the bank are appealing. But JP Morgan's own report, leaked to the press in 2020, also states that climate change is a threat to the survival of the human race. Okay. So the contradiction that is being talked of is, see, measured in decades or generation, that timeline will be long term. Yet, it also states in the report leaked to the press in 2020, climate change is a threat to the survival of the human race. It is an immediate threat. It is a threat that will lead to incapacitation or, let's say, decimation among the humans. But then the solution should be done over a longer period of time. I don't think these bankers are intending to kill people and crash the economy, but it's as if they are blinded by the acquisition of wealth or captured by addiction or in an altered state of consciousness, asleep or compartmentalizing to the extreme. She's looking for potential reasons. She's looking for potential reasons why the bankers are behaving in this way despite having all that information. Maybe they are blinded by acquisition of wealth or they are captured by addiction. As in, we want to make more money, we want to make more money, we want to make more money. Or in an altered state of consciousness. They believe in an alternate set of facts, asleep, not really paying attention, or compartmentalizing to the extreme. Okay, well, this is good. This is good. These are two different activities. Despite them being linked, they are compartmentalizing to the extreme. She's coming up with potential reasons for why, despite identifying one thing, despite having information of one thing, they are behaving in the opposite fashion. I believe that almost all humans have caring and compassion within them, and this can be reached. This state of people taking actions in line with their words, or banks taking action in line with their words, or more specifically, JP Morgan taking action in line with their words. This state of union, this alignment can be reached. I took action in the hope that people in these offices and in the wider JP Morgan Chase Corporation and people in general are moved to take the next bold step that they can to make drastic changes. When you see doctors and grandmothers breaking your windows in objection to your birth, I believe that has a great potential for change. Okay. Now she's also giving a reason for why they resorted to breaking the windows at the JP Morgan offices. They wanted to bring attention to the issue. They wanted to bring attention to the issue. And it's not like these are hooligans who were looking to cause property damage. When you see doctors, respectable members of the society, grandmothers, older members of the society, and because of their age, respect is due to them anyway. So when you see doctors and grandmothers, they are being labeled doctors and grandmothers because some of them are doctors and grandmothers. And perhaps to highlight the fact, these are not hooligans. These are not bad members of the society. These are respectable members of the society. And if they are engaging in this drastic action, understand the importance of the issue. Get the discussion going, get the ball rolling in the right direction. That was the intent behind breaking the windows of the JP Morgan offices. If JP Morgan changes, it leads the market. There have been extensive attempts to change JP Morgan's behavior by citizens with much more gentle methods than we used. Okay. This is one of the best arguments against protests, or one important information or viewpoint that you should be aware of. Whenever protests happen and the protests take a drastic turn, the people who are opposed to these protesters will always say, why did you have to do that? You can always sit down and talk. You can always do this. You can always do that. But then you realize, if you dig deeper, sit down and talk attempts have not worked so far. All those talks of all those discussions prior to this, they were simply being pushed aside. They're say, if the principal of a college says, if the principal of a college says, if you don't have 100%, if you don't have 95% attendance, you will not be allowed to sit for the college exams. Kids cannot maintain 95% attendance. And then kids go up to the principal and the principal, no, our rule is final. We will not change. Our rule is final. We will not change. And then kids, let's say, stage a protest. Kids stage a protest. They don't break windows, but they stage a protest. Then what happens? If then the principal will call, why are you doing this? We can always talk. We can always engage in dialogue and come to a mutual resolution. Understand, the principal, when these kids came to talk, simply turned them away, did not really listen to their arguments, or did not really pay attention to what they were saying, or give them a satisfactory reason why this rule is important. At that time, he was being dismissive. It is only when these people have started protesting. It is only when the people have started protesting, the principal is saying, no, let us talk. So that is non-genuine. And in fact, I will take this step further. Let's say initially 5 kids decide to protest. The principal is still dismissive. I will not do anything. 10 kids decide to protest. He is still dismissive. 20 kids, 30 kids, 50 kids, 60 kids, 100 kids. He still, no, our rule will not change. Nothing will happen. Then one kid picks up a brick and breaks a classroom window. No one knows who that is. In our storyline, no one knows who that is. But somebody captures it on camera and it goes viral on social media. And then news people and media people turn up on campus, and then they start talking to the principal. So kids were, why have the kids done this? And we don't know. People should have come to us to talk and do this and do that. Then if you went on and talked to one of the kids there, you'll perhaps understand why they broke the window. It's not like that was their first go-to move. It's like all the other channels by which they could have enacted change, because they were closed off to them, they had to do something drastic. And it's not like the principal is now engaging with the kids in good faith. He's engaging because it went to the media. If it did not go to the media, the issue would have remained the same way. So if you can understand this situation, you can draw a parallel. That is the argument she's making. There have been extensive attempts to change JP Morgan's behavior by citizens with much more gentle methods than we used. There have been lots of other ways, but then JP Morgan has not changed behavior. It was previously mentioned that profits are in billions. Our communication was bold, and we have some signs that this may be working. A few days after we broke the windows, a piece in the Financial Times described Extinction Rebellion as annoying but performing a vital function. Basically, we have gotten approval for our actions from a piece in the Financial Times. We have statements from senior level people in banking who support these actions. And they say they have enabled change and that they are needed. What the they that is being referenced here is the action taken by the group of people. The action being breaking of windows. We know that many people in JP Morgan are talking about what has happened to their windows. Since the windows of Barclays and HSBC were broken, both the banks have divested from new oil and gas projects. Public pressure contributes. So this strategy of breaking the window and getting the banks to change their behavior has worked in the past. So public pressure does indeed contribute. This also gives a reason why they believed breaking the windows at JP Morgan would be appropriate. I'm outraged by the links between JP Morgan and our government. Sajid Javid, to take one example, worked at JP Morgan before entering politics and returned to JP Morgan soon after leaving his role in the top financial position in this country in 2020. See, Sajid Javid, he was working in JP Morgan. He became a politician, entered politics, and as soon as his tenure, his tenure in the house or wherever he was, let's say Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha or whatever other domain they have there, the House of Commons, the House of Lords, wherever he was working. As soon as his tenure was over, he joined JP Morgan again. This seems a little weird. This seems a little weird, and it wouldn't be remiss to say maybe while he was serving in the government, he was advancing JP Morgan's interest instead of the people that he was supposed to represent. Okay. We know the threat is existential, largely ignored and rapidly developing. The threat of climate change. The burden falls to ordinary people to step up and help create the change. Then subtly they're saying, because ordinary people have to step up and create the change, that is why we had to engage in the drastic behavior. While it is not being stated, it is heavily being implied. We know from history that when ordinary people take a stand against injustice and take bold action, otherwise unimaginable or seemingly impossible change can be created. Examples include the UK poll tax refusal, boycotts, divestment, sanctions, strikes, movements for people's civil rights, including gay rights, disabled rights, and voting rights in communities resisting pipelines, fracking, mining, deforestation, water pollution, deportation, evictions, and colonial rule. Essentially, this is all the examples where pressure from the public led to a positive outcome for the populace. The former UN climate chief, Cristina Figueres, has said, civil disobedience is not only a moral choice, it is also the most powerful way of shaping world politics. It is not only a moral choice. Don't think that just because you are breaking windows or you're engaging in some sort of drastic step, it is an immoral action. It is a moral choice. And it is also the most effective way of getting the other party to do the thing that you want them to do. Emmeline Pankhurst said, the argument of the broken pane of glass is the most valuable argument in modern politics. Now, see, this does not really argue for let's break every glass in order to advance the causes that we believe in. But what this is talking of is when you bring an issue into attention and then discussion happens, that is the best cause for taking that action in the first place. Her statue is right next to the parliament. So it's not like the actions or Emmeline Pankhurst. We don't know who Emmeline Pankhurst is. Based on this article, we don't know. We can perhaps research about who and what she is. She's perhaps an old timer who believes that civil disobedience or doing your protest in which you end up breaking a pane of glass is the right way to go if no other options remain. In April 2019, a huge uprising of people closed down areas in central London for 2 weeks. By the start of May, Parliament had declared a climate and nature emergency. Again, the author is providing an example of how civil disobedience in the past has led to positive outcomes. Finally, being open and truthful with the public about the scale of the threat. A net zero target and citizens' assembly followed. Again, we see public action and disobedience driving change. However, adequate action did not follow. When all other avenues have been exhausted and the stakes are so high, it is reasonable and I think necessary to take peaceful steps that have a reasonable chance of succeeding. So while understand it may look like this is a bad step, she's providing a reason why this drastic step needed to be taken because the threat is so high, because the stakes are so high and action needs to be taken immediately. This action that I have taken of breaking the panes, it was a necessary action that needed to be taken. Okay. I intend to continue to try to find what stability I can in my life. This is referring to the first lines. She's embraced by humans behaving in a manner contrarian to their benefit. In a world containing much change, danger, and instability, I will not look away and I will emotionally engage. It's not like I will become dead, which is also a stance that a lot of people take. They simply, and perhaps in terms of speech, I'm emotionally engaged, but for a lot of things in this world, I have become emotionally disengaged. Stuff like the format of the cat pattern, the changes that we schools make in their process. Because I realize engaging with it and trying to change it while it is good, it rarely ever bears result, and then it takes away a lot from it takes away a lot from an individual. Basically, in my early days of teaching, I was more geared towards no, B schools should do this, should do that. Then you realize B schools will dole out offers and then later on say, no, we don't have enough seats. Or they will change the pattern of the paper without informing the students. They will have exams conducted in which paper is not available, pen is not available, time available to candidate at certain center is low. All sorts of weird things happen. And then you can raise your voice, but because the population here is so small in management entrance exams, even if something goes amiss, even if something is scientifically stupid being no normalization in a paper that is conducted in different slots, that sort of idiocy follows. Yet you can't really change it, so you put your head down and do the best that you can and move on, which is what I'm guessing. That is what I'm getting away from it. The author is promising she will emotionally engage, but uh, I think it is something I should ponder more over. I have emotionally disengaged from certain things that I have absolutely no influence over. Okay. In May, the former government chief scientist David King said, on our current path, civilization as we know, it will disappear. I will do what I can to try to change that path, and I will accept the consequences. Remember this article, or this was written right after she was convicted, after she was sentenced to jail time. So this is a reworded extract of what she had given out. Hopefully, we learned something. The article length is 899 words. There were 47 sentences. The Flesch Kincaid grade level is 21.06. The text is very, very advanced in terms of readability. Not everyone will be able to understand because there are a lot of terms used here that are not very common. And there is lots of external information context that you need in order to understand the article appropriately. The reading score is 31.664, which again says this is fairly difficult. This is difficult to read, and hopefully the analysis and information, outside information that was provided to you, it helped you to some extent. That will be all for this episode. See you in the next one. Thank you very much, and okay, bye.